Namaste students, welcome back to my channel. Students, today we are going to study about a very new concept for you. The name of today's concept is hybridization, and with the help of the hybridization you can easily predict or easily find out the shape of any molecule. Whatever be the molecule, with the help of the hybridization we can find out the shape of that particular molecule. So without any delay, let's get started. So what is hybridization? In our previous videos, we have studied about valence bond theory. In valence bond theory, we have studied two approaches. One is the energy and another one is the orbital overlap concept. In the orbital overlap concept, we have studied that during bond formation, the half-filled atomic orbital of an atom overlap with each other to form the bonds. This we have studied in a valence bond theory, that a bond is formed by the partial overlapping between the half-filled orbitals. And if we apply this concept, then the covalency of an atom should be equal to the number of the unpaired orbitals which are present in that particular atom. Now, what is covalency? Covalency is the number of electrons which an atom can share during the bond formation. So, if I apply the valence bond theory concept, then boron, we know that the electronic configuration of boron is 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. It means in boron we have only one unpaired orbital, and only this unpaired orbital will participate in bond formation, and because of this the covalency of boron should be equal to 1. The covalency of boron should be equal to 1. If I talk about beryllium, then its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2. Now in beryllium we don't have any unpaired orbital. It means according to valence bond theory concept, the covalency of beryllium is 0, and the covalency of carbon should be 2, because we have 2 unpaired electron in carbon. So according to valence bond theory, one orbital of p, 1 orbital of b, 0 orbital of beryllium, and 2 orbitals of carbon are half-filled, and these orbitals will participate in bond formation. So their covalency will also equal to 1, 0 and 2. But in actual practice, the covalency of boron is 3, beryllium is 2 and carbon is 4. So what is the reason behind this? Suppose if I move one of the electron from 2s to 2p. If one of the electron I move from 2s to 2p, the configuration of beryllium becomes 1s2, 2s1, 2p1. This is also correct, because in beryllium also, in here we have 4 electron, here also we have only 4 electron. Similarly, if I move one of the electron of s to p, then I get 3 such orbitals having half-filled electron. And similarly, if I move one of the electron from s to p, I get 4 such orbitals in carbon having half-filled electrons. So if I get the configuration like this, then I can explain the covalency of beryllium as 2, the covalency of boron as 3, and the covalency of carbon as 4. On the basis of this configuration, I can explain the covalency of the beryllium, boron and carbon. So there was developed a new concept according to which the atomic orbitals of an atom which are differentiated by slightly different energies, which are differentiated by slightly different energies. In those atomic orbitals, there is exchange of electrons. In those orbitals, there is exchange of orbitals, as a result of which we get sufficient number of the atomic orbitals. It means these atomic orbitals overlap with the half-filled atomic orbital of the coming atom and results in the formation of bond. Results in the formation of bond. Clear? Because according to VBT, there is a partial overlapping between the half-filled orbital. Now here we have these orbitals. These orbitals have half-filled electrons. Now these orbitals overlap with the coming half-filled orbital of an atom and thus results in the bond formation. Now if I take the example of carbon, now suppose 4 hydrogen are approaching to carbon to form methane. Clear? So one hydrogen will approach 2s and the 3 hydrogen will approach 3 orbitals of p. In p we have 3 orbitals. So one hydrogen will approach 2s and other 3 hydrogen approaches 2p. Now because the energy of 2s is slightly less than that of the 2p, therefore the energy of the bond which is formed by the 2s having different energy than the bond which is formed by 2p. It means the energy of 2sh means the bond which is formed between 2s and the hydrogen is not equals to the energy of 2ph bond because the energy of 2s is less than that of 2p. Therefore, the energy of 2sh bond is not equal to the energy of 2ph bond. But the experimental data shows that all the 4 bonds of carbon have same energy. What experimental data show? That all the 4 bonds of carbon have same energy. Now what is the reason behind this? Initially we said that here the covalency is 2, here 3, here 4. So if I move one electron from s to p, I get the reason that yes, electron will move from s to p, as a result of which we get that much amount of half-filled orbital, and because of this we have covalency 2, 3 and 4. But how does the energy of all the 4 orbitals are same? Now this can be explained with the help of a concept which is known as hybridization. According to hybridization, the atomic orbitals of an atom having slightly different in their energies, they combine with each other. When they combine with each other, they redistribute their energies and their shapes. And results in the formation of entirely new orbitals which are known as hybrid orbitals, and these hybrid orbitals are equal in energies as well as the size. Clear or not? Okay, we'll repeat again. That hybridization. What is hybridization? Hybridization is the mixing of atomic orbitals of an atom. First line is this. Clear? That hybridization is the process in which there is mixing of atomic orbitals of an atom. We are talking about a single atom. Atomic orbitals of an atom having slightly difference in their energies. What is the meaning of this line? That if I want to mix 1s with 3p, I can't able to mix because the energy of 1s and 3p, there is a very big difference between the energy of 1s and 3p. But if I want to mix 2s with 2p, 3p with 3d, 4p with 4d, 4s with 4p, then I can mix, because these atomic orbitals have very little difference in their energies. So hybridization is the mixing of atomic orbital of an atom having slightly difference in their energies, resulting in the formation of set of new orbitals, having same energy and shape, due to redistribution of energies. Due to redistribution of energy. So mixing of atomic orbital of an atom, having slightly difference in their energies, resulting in the formation of new set of orbitals having same energy and shape due to the redistribution of the energy. And these orbitals are known as hybrid orbitals. And because of same size and same energy, because of same shape and same energy, all the 4 bonds which are formed by the carbon are equal, are having same energy. So what is hybridization? Hybridization is a process of intermixing of atomic orbital. Why intermixing? Because here is the mixing of the atomic orbital of only one atom. We are talking about of only a particular atom. So it is an intermixing of the atomic orbitals having slightly different in their energies, resulting in the formation of new set of orbitals having same shape and energies due to the redistribution of the energies, and these new set of orbitals are known as hybrid orbital. So this is the definition of the hybridization. Now, what are the main points which we have to kept in our mind when we talk about the hybridization? We'll study those points. First point is, only those orbitals will participate in hybridization which have approximately equal energy or which have a very little difference in their energies. So very first point is, only those orbital will participate in in hybridization. Only those orbitals will participate in hybridization which have approximately equal energies. This is the first point we have to kept in our mind, that 1s and 3p will not participate in hybridization because the energy of 1s is very different from that of the 3p. Now, the second important point is the number of hybrid orbitals. The number of hybrid orbitals is equal to the number of the mixing atomic orbitals. Number of mixing atomic orbitals means if 2 orbitals will combine, then we get only 2 hybrid orbitals. If 3 atomic orbitals will combine, the number of hybrid orbitals becomes 3. If 6 atomic orbitals will overlap with each other, they redistribute their energies with each other, then we get 6 hybrid orbitals. So the second is, number of hybrid orbital is equal to the number of mixing atomic orbitals. Now, the third important point of hybridization which we have to kept in our mind, that the hybridization never occur in an isolated atom. The hybridization never occur in an isolated atom. never occur in an isolated atom. It always occur. It always occur during the time of bond formation. It always occur during the time of bond formation. During the time of bond formation. Now, why it occur only during the time of bond formation? Because in the hybridization, we are saying that electron will move from one orbital to another orbital. For moving of electron, it requires energy, and that amount of energy is we get when the atom come close to each other. In VBT, we have studied that when atoms come to close each other to form a molecule, a large amount of energy is released by the atoms, and that amount of energy is utilized by the electrons to move from one atomic orbital to another atomic orbital. And because of this, hybridization never occur in an isolated atom. It always occur during the time of the bond formation. During the time of the bond formation. Next, it is not necessary that always a half-filled atomic orbital will participate in bond formation. It is not necessary that always a half-filled atomic orbital will participate in bond formation. Sometimes a fully filled atomic orbital with slightly different energy can also participate in bond formation. So what is the next point? That it is not necessary that always half-filled orbital will participate in bond formation, will participate in hybridization. Sometime fully filled orbital with slightly different energy, will also participate in the hybridization. Will also participate in the hybridization. So this is the another point which we have to keep in our mind, that it is not necessary that always the half-filled orbital will participate in in hybridization. Sometime a fully filled atomic orbital with slightly different energy can also participate in the bond formation. Now, the shape of a molecule is decided by the type of hybridization. The shape of the molecule is decided by the type of hybridization. The type of hybridization. So the type of hybridization will decide the shape of the molecule. So as soon as you get to know that how we can find out the type of hybridization, through this we can easily find out the shape of a particular molecule. Next, when S and P orbital combine to form hybrid orbitals. When S and P orbital combine to form hybrid orbital, the shape of the hybrid orbital is similar to that of the P orbital, but with a little bit difference. Now, what is that difference? If I draw a P orbital is a dumbbell shaped orbital with both the lobes equal in shape. But the hybrid orbital is like this. It is like a p orbital, but the size of both the lobes are different. One lobe is bigger and the another one is smaller. The smaller always contain negative charge and the bigger always contain positive charge. The smaller one always contain negative charge, whereas the bigger one always contain the positive charge. So these points we have to kept in our mind at the time of the hybridization. So what is hybridization? It is intermixing of atomic orbitals with slightly different energies and results in the formation of new set of orbitals having same shape and energies due to the redistribution of the energies in the mixing atomic orbital. This is hybridization. Now, at the time of the hybridization, only those orbitals will combine which have approximately equal energies. Number of hybrid orbitals are equal to the number of the mixing atomic orbitals. The hybridization never occur in the isolated atom. Never. Hybridization always occur during the time of the bond formation. It is not necessary that hybridization always occur in the half-filled atomic orbital. Sometimes fully filled atomic orbital with slightly different energy can also participate in hybridization. The shape of a molecule is decided by the types of hybridization, that what is the type of the hybridization. In this also, through this also we get to know about the shape of the molecule and the shape of the hybrid orbital. When we draw the hybrid orbital, the shape of the hybrid orbital is exactly similar to that of the p orbitals, but the difference is that the two lobes of the hybrid orbitals are not equal. One lobe is bigger one, another lobe is smaller one. The smaller lobe contains negative charge and the bigger lobe contains positive charge. Now we'll study the types of hybridization. First is sp hybridization. sp hybridization. Now, sp hybridization, as the name indicates, that one s orbital combines with one p atomic orbital and form two new hybrid orbitals which have equal energy and same shape, and these two new orbitals are named as sp hybrid orbitals. sp hybrid orbitals. It means in sp hybridization, one s combines with one p having comparable energies and they form two new hybrid orbitals. The name of those two new hybrid orbital is sp. Clear? In this, the hybrid orbital has 50% s character and 50% p character. 50% s character and 50% p character. Now, second is sp2 hybridization. Now, sp2 hybridization means one s orbital combines with one s orbital mixed with two p orbitals. One s orbital mixed with two p orbitals and then results in the formation of three hybrid orbitals. The number of atomic orbitals are 3, 1s and 2p, and the resulting hybrid orbitals are also 3. So these mix to form 3 new orbitals which are known as sp2 hybridized orbitals, where s contain 1/3, s character becomes 1/3 and the p character becomes 2/3. The p character becomes 2/3. Means as we move from sp hybridization to sp2 hybridization, s character decreases because here it is just half, but here it is 1/3. So s character decreases and p character increases. If I talk about sp3 hybridization, in sp3 hybridization, one s orbital mixed with 3 p orbitals. One s orbital mixed with 3 p orbitals and results in the formation of 4 hybrid orbitals. And all the orbitals have name sp3. In this, s has 1/4 part and p has 3/4 part. Means 33% and 67%. So as we move from sp to sp2, p character increases, s character decreases. As we move from sp2 to sp3, again p character increases and s character decreases. Now, I have told you that while explaining hybridization, I'll explain you that how electronegativity is influenced by hybridization. How electronegativity is affected by hybridization. Now suppose I have two carbon. In two different compounds. In first compound, carbon is sp2 hybridized and in another compound, carbon is sp3 hybridized. Now what is the meaning of this? That in this carbon, the s character is more as compared to this carbon. Because here it is sp3. Here the s character is 1/4. but in sp2 the s character is 1 by third. And suppose if I have another carbon having sp hybridization, so in this carbon the s character is more than these two carbon. Now in our previous videos we have studied about the penetration effect. What is the penetration effect? That is the effective nuclear charge experienced by an atomic orbital of a same subshell. In that we have studied that if we talk about a same subshell, penetration effect of S is greater than that of P, which is greater than that of D, and D is greater than that of F. It means S is held by strong nuclear force of attraction as compared to P. So what happened as we move from sp to sp3, s character decreases. Due to the decrease in the s character, penetration effect also decreases. Penetration effect decreases means effective nuclear force of attraction decreases. And due to the decrease in the effective nuclear force of attraction, what happened? Electronegativity decreases. So the most electronegative carbon is sp hybridized carbon, and the least negative electronegative carbon is sp3 hybridized carbon. So in this way hybridization influences the electronegativity of an atom. Hybridization influences the electronegativity of an atom. Similarly, in our previous videos we have talked about the characteristics of bond, in which we have studied about the bond energy. And in bond energy also we have studied that there is a factor hybridization which affects the bond energy also. There is a factor which affects the bond energy, and the factor is known as hybridization. Now how hybridization affects the bond energy? If we talk about S is smaller in size, but P is not smaller in size. So when we move from sp to sp3, P character increases. Due to the increase in the p character, the size of the hybrid orbital also increases. It means the size of sp is smaller than that of sp2, and the size of sp2 is smaller than that of sp3. Why? Because as we move from sp to sp3, p character increases. Due to the increase in the p character, size also increases. Now due to the increase in the bond, due to the increase in the size, what happened? Bond length increases, and due to the increase in the bond length, bond energy decreases. Due to the increase in the bond length, bond energy decreases. So the minimum amount of energy which is required to break the bond is in sp3. And in sp we require more amount of energy to break the bond due to its small size. So in this way hybridization affects the electronegativity, the bond energy, and many other factors. So we have three main hybridizations. sp hybridization, sp2 hybridization, and sp3 hybridization. In sp hybridization we have 50-50% character. In sp2 1/3 2/3, in sp3 1/4 3/4. And on the basis of these hybridization we can explain that how hybridization affects the electronegativity as well as the bond energy. The other hybridization we will study later. These are sp3d, sp3d2, and sp3d3. These hybridization we'll also study during the study of the shape of the molecules. So these are the types of hybridization. So students, this is the basis of hybridization. In this video we have studied about the basic of the hybridization, and with the help of the hybridization we'll learn in next video that how we can draw the shape of a particular molecule. So that's all for today. I'll see you in my next video with a new topic.